All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and honestly most misunderstood engines in global business, SAP's automated pricing system. This is the secret logic that powers commerce for the world's biggest companies, and we are going to break it all down for you.
Okay, so let's just start with the core problem, right? Picture this. You're running a massive company. You've got thousands, maybe millions of products, millions of customers. You've got different price lists, special promotions, regional taxes. How on earth do you calculate the exact correct price for every single line item on every single order instantly and with zero errors? It's a massive, high-stakes puzzle.
And this image, it just perfectly captures that complexity. You've got data about the customer, the product they're buying, the sales region, the date. All these different pieces of info have to get processed through this logical funnel to spit out one single number, the final price. The real magic is how the system is built to handle all this, automatically.
So here's how we're going to tackle this puzzle. First, we'll set the stage. Then we'll look at the basic DNA of SAP pricing. After that, we'll check out the master blueprint that puts it all together. Then we get to the big reveal, the kind of surprising way this whole engine is actually built. And finally, we'll touch on a few advanced strategies that make it so powerful.
So how does SAP solve this billion-dollar puzzle? Well, the answer is this incredibly elegant piece of engineering called the condition technique. And you should think of it less like a simple price list and more like a detective who's following a very, very specific set of instructions to find the right price. To really get the condition technique, you just need to understand three core ideas, three building blocks. These are the absolute fundamentals, the DNA of the whole system. I promise, once you get these three terms, everything else is going to click into place. First up is the condition record. This is the most basic piece of info. It's the actual data. Think of it as the clue our detective is looking for. It's a specific price or a discount tied to a bunch of criteria. Something like, product X costs $99 for customer Y in January. That simple fact, that's a condition record. Okay, next up, the condition type. This is like the template for the record. It defines what kind of clue our detective is on the hunt for. Are we looking for a base price, a percentage discount, a fixed charge for freight? The condition type gives that clue its meaning and tells the system how to calculate it. And the last piece of the puzzle is the access sequence. This is our detective search plan. It's a pre-built, step-by-step strategy that tells the system how and where to look for a valid condition record. And this is crucial. It always searches from the most specific possible price down to the most general one. This logic guides the entire hunt. Okay, so let's put it all together. Here's how it works. The system needs to find a price. That's the condition type. To do that, it uses a search plan, the access sequence. That plan tells it to check a series of data tables in a specific order, from most specific to most general, until it finds a valid condition record. It's just a beautiful, logical chain of events. All right, we've got the DNA down. Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the master blueprint that pulls everything together. This is called the pricing procedure, and it's basically the master recipe that controls the entire calculation, from the gross price all the way down to the final net value. So what is a pricing procedure? Well, it's pretty simple, really. It's just a list of all the condition types that could possibly apply to a sale, arranged in the exact order they need to be calculated. It starts with the base price, then it subtracts discounts, adds on surcharges, calculates subtotals, and finally adds taxes. Every single step is laid out right there in sequence. Okay. Let's follow our detective on a live case. An order comes in. The master recipe says, Step 1, find the base price. The system search plan tells it the very first place to look is for a special price that exists only for this specific customer buying this specific product. But nope, the system checks and finds nothing. No special price for that specific combo. So does it give up? No way. The detective just follows the search plan to the next step. The access sequence says, okay, that didn't work. Now check for a price based on a more general price list for this product. See? It moves from specific to general. And bingo, we've got a match. On this second try, it finds a valid condition record. A price of $100 exists for this product on the standard price list. The search stops, the system grabs that value, and boom, it pulls it into the sales document. The first step of the recipe is done. And this whole thing, it happens in a fraction of a second. Okay, so that whole process seems pretty straightforward, right? It's logical, it runs from top to bottom. But now for the big reveal, the real aha moment that you need to understand how these systems are actually built. There's a surprising secret to it. And get this, to make the whole thing work so perfectly forwards, you actually have to build it completely backwards. You don't start with the final recipe. You start with the tiniest building blocks and work your way up. Let me show you what I mean.
Yeah, you actually start at the very bottom with the foundation, the condition tables. This is where you decide what fields a price can depend on. Do you want to set prices by customer and product, or maybe by sales region? You have to define those foundational data tables first.
Okay, so once you've got your tables, your building blocks, then you put them together into an access sequence. This is where you actually build the detective search plan, telling the system exactly which tables to check and in what order, always from the most specific to the most general.
And now that you've built that search plan, you have to tell it what it's searching for. That's where the condition type comes in. You're basically saying, hey, to find a base price, use this specific search strategy that we just built. You're linking the how with the what.
And then, only at the very, very end do you pull it all together into that master recipe. You take all the condition types you've defined, your prices, your discounts, your surcharges, and you arrange them in the correct calculation order inside the pricing procedure. You have to build it backwards to make it run forwards. Okay, so we have totally cracked the core logic, but the real magic is in the details. So let's just quickly look at a few power-ups that make the system so incredibly flexible for real-world business scenarios.
Header conditions are a great example. Say you want to give a discount on an entire order. Well, you could just apply a flat $90 discount to each item. Or, and this is the really cool part, you can have the system take a single $90 discount and intelligently spread it out across all the items based on their value. It's just so flexible. And believe me, it does not stop there. You can set up rules where only the best discount applies, and it automatically turns off the others. You can group totally different products together to qualify for a volume discount. You can automatically tack on a surcharge for small orders, or even track your own internal costs right alongside the customer's price to see your profit margin on every single sale. So what's the big takeaway here? The most important thing to remember is this: a truly elegant automated pricing engine isn't just a big list of prices. It's a dynamic system of logic. It's a detective, following a search plan, executing a master recipe step by step. And maybe the cleverest part of all, it's a recipe that was written completely backwards to make sure it always runs perfectly forwards.